Hey guys, Rexasaur here, and welcome to another Total War Warhammer lore, where in the next few episodes I will be going through the faction leaders of each of the playable factions for the first game. Now these are Karl, Franz, Thorgrim, Grudgebearer, Manfred von Carstein, and Grimgor Ironhide. Now, I scoured the internet for a lot of the backstory of these, so a lot of these are going to be scripted little pieces of information from Wikipedia sources, not Wikipedia but like the Warhammer wiki, because they're pretty good. They give you a very good overview. However, it would seem that Thorgrim Grudgebearer does not have a very good backstory on the internet. I know he's got a very good one in the codex. Now I do not have my hands on the codex, so I am unable to give you a lot of information about him, so I'm only going to go over him really briefly, along with Karl Franz together. So I'm pitting them both together since they're both good side. But the next two videos, which is going to be Manfred and Grimgor, will be separate because they have a very large backstory. So anyway, let's start with Karl Franz. Karl Franz, known as the Ascendant, formerly titled Karl Franz the First, Protector of the Empire, Defier of the Dark, Emperor himself and son of Emperors, Elector Count of Reichland and Prince of Artorf. He is the current Emperor of the Empire of Mankind, the Elector Count of Reichland, the Prince of Altdorf, and the greatest statesman and general the Empire and perhaps the entire Old World has ever seen in many centuries. After acquiring the imperial throne as the new emperor, Karl Franz wished to assert his military power over his new kingdom during his reign and show his beloved subjects that he was not a man of sloth or greed, but a man that would lead his people in their darkest time. Since his election, Karl Franz has collected victory after victory and conquest after conquest, taking command of his troops personally whenever possible, bringing with him his legendary Garmaraz Warhammer and his fellow Griffin companion Deathclaw. It was Karl Franz who led the decisive charge of the Reiksguard Knights against the Knights of Bretonnia at the Battle of Nordjorn around 2502 IC. On the legendary Field of Blood, it was the courage of the Emperor's own heroics that steadied the Imperial line against the thunderous charge of War Spleenripper and his mighty horde of greenskin warriors. In his war against the chaotic hordes of Molokai the Savage, he led his personal greatsword company into the very heart of the enemy army, and it was he that broke the skull of the Chaos Champion with a single swing of his mighty warhammer. There is little doubt that Karl Franz is one of the greatest generals of his age and time. So that's Karl Franz. He's amazing. He rides a griffin called Deathclaw. He can also ride a dragon in the tabletop, but I'm not sure if in Total War Warhammer that will be portrayed. Also, I'd like to just note a little quote from 1D4chan, which is basically like a Wikipedia, but like kind of like semi-satirical. It says, Karl Franz is also a formidable warrior with a record of getting shit done. That's basically what it is. Karl Franz is a mighty warrior who just does everything. He's better than any other emperor because he actually did stuff, which is unlike any of the previous empires, or a lot of the previous emperors anyway. So let's talk a bit about Thorgrim. Now, Thorgrim Grudgebearer does not have a lot on the wiki, which is annoying. I really wanted to read up a lot about him because it's not something that is very known, which is probably why there's not a lot about him online on wikis and stuff. I'm sure that if you have a codex or an army book for dwarves, there's going to be a lot about him. Thorgrim is the descendant of the most ancient and noble of all dwarf lords. The High Kings have kept the Great Book of Grudges, the oldest and most important of the many books of grudges that exist throughout the dwarf realms. This book, known as Damas Kron, recounts all the ancient wrongs and deeds of treachery perpetrated against the dwarf race. Its pages are written in the bloods of High Kings, and its tattered parchment is much thumbled and studied. Since an early age, Thorgrim was dreamed of avenging his people, and perhaps one day to put aside the Great Book of Grudges by striking out every single grudge it contains. Such a thing, however, would be impossible even in 1,000 lifetimes. But dwarves are determined folk, and once their mind is made up, they are obstinate. The Great Book of Grudges is Thorgrim's constant companion. He keeps the book by his side night and day, sleeping with its gnarled old pages beneath his pillow, and carrying it around with him in his waking hours, and has managed to strike out several long-held grudges. And that's it. That's all I got on Thorgrim, which is so annoying. I know he personally led a few battles. I don't know what the names of the battle is. He's usually around, carried by his 4 bearers. He's on top of some kind of like a boat that he's carried on. He's pretty fat. He's a dwarf. But it's just a shame. I'm actually like quite annoyed that there's not more on him online. I think he is a very interesting character, and if you're interested in playing the dwarves, don't be put off by the fact there's not a lot of him online. There is a book, a novel called Thorgrim, which is published by the Black Library, which I would recommend if you guys want to know a little bit about him. I haven't actually read it, so I don't know why I'm saying I would recommend. But if you want to read more about him, I'm pretty sure the book Thorgrim is going to be pretty good. But he is an awesome like character in the tabletop. He's all right. He's not amazing, but I think that's because I don't know. I haven't played against dwarves since their last update, so I don't know how good Thorgrim is. But I know that he's a very, very powerful character, and I know that his Book of Grudges and his whole mindset of leading the dwarves to strike out all the grudges from this book is like massive undertaking and something that only great leaders can do. But he is awesome. I don't know. I feel like I'm not giving him enough justice by putting him with Karl Franz. It's just like, yeah, he's with Karl Franz. He's a good guy. He's a dwarf. He's pretty awesome, I guess. He's pretty fat. I don't know. It's not giving him justice, and I apologize massively for not giving him justice. I'm sure that in the comments below, either on this video or on Reddit, there's going to be people going, whoa, this is what he's done, and massive list, in which case, thank you very much for doing that list. Allowing a lot of people to read, because I have literally no idea. I'm not really the best person for giving you a background on this. I could give you a really long background on things like Thanquol, on people like the Skavens and stuff like that, but when it comes to other people, a bit less, so I apologize for that. But I still feel that it's good to give you a kind of backstory on who Karl Franz and Thorgrim Grudgebearer are. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this episode and this video. Please leave a like if you liked it, and I will see you for the next video, which will be all about Manfred von Carstein.